All right. Okay. How you guys doing? Want to see your faces. Thank you. Johnny, can I see your face, please? Oh, sunny outside, huh? Alrighty. Johnny, are you at the skate park?
No, I'm working right now.
I didn't catch that. What'd you say?
I'm working right now, so I'm just kind of listening to class.
Oh, okay. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Okay, well, welcome. Hopefully you can learn something.
Yeah. Well,
Alrighty. So let's see, this week, you guys, we are starting a brand new unit, reproductive system. That's our last system of the year. We got 2 weeks on this system since it's pretty long. Excuse me. I'm going to have you guys do some assignments with it. And then, let's see, pull up really quick and see what else you guys have going on. I think there's a quick quiz for you guys to do. Excuse me, man. And having some coughing going on. All right. So we have female parts labeling, and then, yeah, mainly just studying over the female. And then next week is the male. All right. Let's see. We're coming down to testing. So our final CTE test. Now, I know I've mentioned this before. You guys need to take the final CTE test. That's developed by the state. I don't have any, I don't write the questions. I just teach the curriculum and have the students take that. So that's going to go on your grade. I've put together an email that I need to have cleared with the admin to make sure that it's all good. And this is something that you guys will be doing remotely. So I'll have to have it proctored, or I usually proctor it. Mainly it's me. I'm going to send out an email, but there's a specific time that you guys will have to sign up with me, because in order for me to proctor it, it's not like what you have been maybe accustomed to with a test that's been proctored or whatever. It's a specific time that you guys will sign up with me, and it's going to have to be either after school or during my prep period, and I'll send out those times. It's scheduled for May 15th and May 16th. So it's on a Monday or a Tuesday. That's when my in-class students are taking it. And so you've got, well, basically two options. One, if you want to come and take it here at Weber High, that's an option. Or two, you guys will be doing it online. And so I have to type in passwords. So it's like you and me have to be online at the exact same time, pretty much. So the way it works is the student will log in with all their information, and I'll send this by way of email. And after you guys have signed up, with your time, and then you'll sign in, and then you'll put your little password in, and I'll send that password to you guys, and you'll get into the testing place. It's called precisionexams.com. And then you'll type in that password, and then you have to wait for me to authorize. So that's the tricky part that I found, because if I'm not right there at my computer when the kid's ready to log in, there might be a delay of 5 or so minutes. So that's why I have the students do that test during my prep period or after school. So schedule out, put on your calendar, May 15th or 16th, and I'll tell you guys exactly when my prep periods are. That test, they give you 90 minutes, but I've been given that test for years and years, and nobody's taken more than the time frame for our class. So nobody's, and we normally have to go down to the library and take it. That's how we did it in the past. There's 70 questions on it. They're all multiple choice. Yes, so I'll be sending out. So the question was, can we set it up online? So yeah, you guys will be, I'll be sending you an email, and then with the time frames that you guys can pick. And then you'll just send me, hey, I want to take the test on, let's say you pick May 15th from at 2:30. And then I'll say, yeah, that's good. And then I'll have that time slot available that I will be there on my computer looking to see when you've logged in after you've got your information, and then I'll be able to authorize you. So the test usually takes students about 45 minutes to complete. Like I said, you're given that full, I think it's an hour and a half, but nobody's ever taken that much time. Okay? It's a closed note, closed book, closed everything. You're just doing your best. Okay? And in order for you to show that you're competent, according to the state, with any CTE class, you have to get above 80%. So I will have it just out of 80 points. If you happen to get more than 80 points, and a lot of kids do better than the 80%, I've had one student that scored 100% on it. But yeah, that's few and far between. So if you get an 80%, I'm going to consider that to be 100%. So if you happen to get better than 80% on that test, then you guys will just get, extra bonus points added to it. So I'm going to adjust grades down from there. So an 80% will be 100%. And then, so like if you get a C on it, it's like getting an A on it, if that makes sense. So I'll adjust the grades down. All right. And it's only 80 points. It's not going to be like a big chunk of your grade, but you definitely want to review over your notes. There's, I'll pull up on a website and show you guys next time, or you can go on to the, to see if I can find it right now really quick for you guys. Utah State Office of Education. Type in that website. They have all of the tests that are available, and it shows, see if I can find it really quick. If not, I'll show this to you guys next time. But the Utah State Office of Education, let's see, testing Wol Map. See if it's gonna now, anyway. Let's see, let me put CTE testing. So what I'm trying to find for you guys, yeah, it's going to take me too long to find this. I'll find it for you guys next time. So basically what I was looking for is, it has a rundown of this many questions is going to be on this unit, this many questions on this unit, this many. So like, the students don't get too worried about like going back and studying the chemistry unit, because there's only 4 questions on that unit, versus like the skeletal system that has like 10 questions on it. Like the muscular system has like 10 questions on it. So it kind of shows you guys the breakdown of how many questions are going to be in each unit. So you kind of know where to focus your studies on. Right? So that's, yeah, questions on that, you guys? So I'll send out an email and I'll show you exactly where to log in, how to log in. But that email I'll send out here, my goal is to get it sent out by Friday, even though you guys aren't testing for another couple of weeks. But I wanted to start getting those time frames blocked out for when the students can take that. Right? And that's the same day that my in-person classes are taking that. All right. Okay. Alrighty. So let's see. We have a little bit of time. I can run through some of the stuff with the reproductive system with you guys. My other class, they just barely started that unit today, so this will be really good. Okay, let me share with you guys this reproductive unit. So a reproductive system. Alrighty. So basic functions, that's easy. I tell my classes your reproductive system its job is to make babies and make hormones, basically. Gonads and gametes, they like to ask questions about this. So the gonads are the actual organs that make gametes. So in guys, the gonads are going to be the testes, and girls, the gonads are going to be the ovaries. And the gametes are the sex cells, so the sperm and the eggs. Here's some cool statistics for you guys. Guys make sperm all day long, pretty much till they're dead. And the statistic is 1,000 sperm per second, which is crazy. Now, girls are born with the maximum number of eggs that they're ever going to have. And then that's about 500,000 is what they say that girls are born with, immature egg cells. And then they are dying out as you go through your life. And they claim that about 400 to 500 of those eggs will be ovulated. That means when they come out of the ovary. So kind of interesting. All right. So gonads and gametes. So we've got gametes are the sex cells, the sperm, and then of course the eggs for girls. So the PowerPoint presentation, it goes through the guy first, but we can come back to that next time because the way that I've got it set up is learning the girl first. So let's go jump forward on the slideshow to the girl. All right. So girl starts here. External parts of the girl: vulva, labia majora, clitoris, labia minora, mons pubis, and vestibule. And then the internal structures: ovaries, uterus, uterine tubes, and the vagina. And then the mammary glands, which are found in the breasts, those are going to be the accessory organs or the accessory structures. So here it shows a cross section of the gal. And I actually have my model here that I wanted to show you guys as we go through the girl parts. So let me stop presenting really quick and show you this model. All right. Can I stop presenting? You guys still seeing the slideshow? Or are you seeing me? Jesse, you seeing me? Or the slideshow? Okay. All right. Okay. So my boyfriend, I nicknamed this plastic model my boyfriend. And this part here of the model, it slides out and it shows you guys that urinary bladder. I think I've showed you guys that before. And I don't know if uh-oh, there goes my lights. I don't know if I've shown you guys this yet. I'm kind of having a deja vu moment. And I don't know if I showed you guys these parts yet. But here is the model for the female, and I can't slide it in there because of the uterus being in the way. But on the female parts, go back a little bit. All right, so female parts. Let me just show you guys this one half because the other half's boring. This is just showing this here. But here's on the model here. Now these are supposed to be life size, you guys. Okay, average size human. So here's the cross section through the female. Okay. And this part pops out. Ooh, whoa, hello. This part pops out. And then this part comes apart. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So here we go. I pull this apart. Here's these green things. So those are the ovaries. Ovaries are about the size of an almond, unshelled almond. Okay. About the same size and shape. And then this here, these darker areas here, those are the fallopian tubes, also known as the oviduct or the uterine tubes. And here's the uterus. Now the uterus is about the size of a small pear, an upside down pear. And when you look at the shape of that, definitely is a pear. So it's an inverted pear. Boom. This dark area in the middle here that's red, that's the endometrium. That's the layer that's lost during the menstrual cycle. So this is the part that's broken off. And then blood vessels here within the myometrium release the blood flow. The top part, fundus. Middle part, body. Bottom part right here is the cervix. So we talked about in my class about cervical cancer. There's a virus that can cause cervical cancer. It's called human papillomavirus. That causes a lot of sexually transmitted diseases. But HPV, they've got a vaccination against this. And a lot of teenage girls are getting that shot. But the cervix here, so they'll, once you're sexually active, the doctor will want to do what they call a pap smear, which is where they'll put a thing up inside the vagina and they'll open it up, and then they'll scrape right along here. They'll collect some of the cells basically from this area, and then they send it off to the lab and look to see if there's cervical cancer. So if you have that HPV, you have human papillomavirus, your chances of getting cervical cancer are increased. So girls, when they go in, women, when they go in and have a pap smear done, they're looking to see if there's cancer in the cervix. So this is the cervix here, and then this is showing the vagina. This part here, we pop this together. So this is showing the part here, okay? It comes together like that. So the uterus and the vagina kind of sit at a 90-degree angle to each other. And then we put it inside the model. So here's our model here. So there's the uterus there. And I think I talked about this, how, if you've got a fetus in there, if you're pregnant, that uterus is sitting right on top of the urinary bladder right here. So urinary bladder, and then this is the urethra that carries urine out of the body, of course. And then there's the vagina right behind it. And then this part here is the rectum. And then this blue line here is representing the hymen. That's just a layer of tissue that covers over the vagina. It's supposed to protect the vagina while the gal's developing. Of course, if you insert a tampon in there, that will break that hymen open. Or, of course, sexual intercourse will break that hymen open. And then these folds of tissue here, the labia majora, the labia minora, and all of the external genitalia of the girl is known as the vulva. So those are some of the main parts. This mound of tissue here is just fat. It's what they call the mons pubis. And then I don't know if this shows. Yeah, it does. This number 819 right there, that's called the clitoris. It's analogous to the male penis. During developmental processes of the baby, during embryonic development, the clitoris is external, and then it pulls back up inside the girl as she's developing. So those are the parts of the girl. So let's get into, let me show you guys, share screen. All right. So that model I think is really cool. Looking at pictures, yeah, that's kind of cool, but seeing the actual model. So again, here's that, boom, uterus, fallopian tube here, vagina, urethra, rectum, clitoris, mons pubis. You can see the amount of fat that covers over the pubic symphysis, and then the folds of tissue that protect the vagina. Alrighty, and then this one is of a cadaver. So people that donate their body to science, they utilize those to show the features. So this looks like an older person. A lot of times as you get older, your reproductive organs shrink down, your ovaries will shrink down, uterus will shrink down a little bit. So this is that lady's, here's her uterus here. Here's the bladder right here. This is the urethra, bringing urine out of the body. Vagina here, and then back here is rectum. You can see some of this ligament structure here. There's Mr. Ovary right here. And then the fimbriae, the fallopian tube's actually at the very end of the fallopian tube. It has like this little finger-like projection. And when the girl ovulates, boom, it grabs onto the egg and carries it down the fallopian tube. That fallopian tube is lined with ciliated tissue, pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelial tissue. All right, so let's talking about the ovaries. As I mentioned before, about 500,000 eggs is what girls are born with. Your ovaries create the eggs, but not only that, they create hormones. So the major sex hormones in girls is estrogen, progesterone, and then relaxin. This is talking about the different parts of the ovary. When you look inside the ovary, this is kind of cool. Actually, let's see if there's a diagram of it. This is better. So this is showing the whole month process going on inside the ovary. So we have this cluster here. There's a tissue that surrounds around the egg cells called a follicle. So there's a hormone released by the pituitary gland, follicle stimulating hormone that's released. And that will cause the follicle to wrap around the egg. So there's the little egg there, there's the little egg there, here's the egg here. And this becomes a primary follicle, secondary follicle, and then eventually a mature follicle. And then boom, out comes the egg during ovulation. So this takes about 14 days, this whole process to get to here. And then the tissue that's surrounded around the egg actually stays inside the egg. That tissue is called the corpus luteum. That corpus luteum will degenerate, break down, and eventually disappear. So this follicle releases estrogen, so the hormone estrogen, I nickname it the happy hormone, ovulation occurring, and then that corpus luteum, this tissue within the ovary, creates progesterone. So the sex hormones, the estrogen, and the progesterone. So this whole process is about a month. Most girls will, their menstrual period is broken down into 4 parts, and that is usually a cycle for girls is 28 days. It's a normal cycle. 5 of those days being the actual menstrual period. Okay. All right. So this is talking about how the egg will move out of the ovary during ovulation, and then it grabs the little finger-like projections. The fimbriae will grab, and it'll move it down the fallopian tube or the uterine tube. Fallopian tube here, so grab fimbriae, boom, 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 carried it down. Now up in this top part here is where fertilization occurs. So the sperm have to swim all the way up through the vagina, all the way up into, so most enter about right here. They go up through the cervix, swim up this way, and then half of them are going to go this way, and then the other half of the sperm go this way. Now they don't know which, where the egg's at, which ovary released the egg. Some books will tell you that the ovaries, one egg released every other month. So right ovary and then left ovary. So January, February, March, April, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if you have 2 eggs that are released, I've got a couple of twins in my class. A boy and a girl. They're both seniors this year. And so in that case, their mom produced 2 eggs, and then an X-bearing sperm found the egg, and a Y-bearing sperm found the egg. And it made XX, so the sex chromosomes in a girl are XX, and the sex chromosomes in a boy are XY. So now somebody asked me in my class, what causes identical twins? That's where you have 1 egg and 1 sperm, and then it splits. So they share the same genetics. But in the case of fraternal twins, where they don't look like each other, I mean, like in the case with mine, it's with those students, it's a boy and a girl. So that means that 2 of those eggs were ovulated. Maybe one ovary ovulated 2 eggs, or maybe the left ovary ovulated an egg, and then the right ovary ovulated an egg also. So that's kind of interesting. This is showing you guys the inside of the fallopian tubes. So this has that ciliated tissue, that pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelial tissue. So these little cilia flutter. They grab the egg and they carry it down. The egg usually is in the fallopian tube for about 3 to 4 days. All right, then it's going to move down into the uterus. Now the uterus is the womb. The uterus is also the site for menstruation, because that inner lining, the endometrial layer, sloughs off. And then, of course, if the baby, if the egg is fertilized, then the fetus develops within there. The 3 different sections. Most important is going to be that narrow part at the bottom, which is that cervix. And what's interesting, this is talking about how the cervix right here will have this plug of mucus in there. And that plug of mucus gets thinner during ovulation. So when the egg is boom out here, it's coming down here, the sperm are able to swim through that barrier, that mucus barrier, and be able to swim. I've heard some stuff that say like 300,000 start the race, 50 reach the egg. So they're dying off. The semen, a guy's semen is a pH of 7.4. So it's an alkaline, it's a base. If you guys remember studying about pH goes from 0 to 14, and anything above 7 is considered alkaline. So guy's semen is is a 7.4, and the vaginal secretions of a girl is pH of 4. That's an acid. And so when the semen enters into the girl, it starts dying off. I mean, the sperm are just they're not used to that really high acid environment, and so they die off in droves. I mean, again, so the thousands and thousands and thousands dying off, and hopefully 50 to 100 reach the egg. I've read some stuff that say 1,000 reach the egg, but nowhere compared to what it started with. Okay, so that's talking about how this mucus is less dense and more conducive to the passage of sperm while the girl's ovulating. Oh crap, we only have 1 minute left. Okay, all right. So that's this. This is showing you guys that inner lining, the endometrium. And then the different layers, the middle layer, the thick layer is the myometrium, and then the parametrium. This is showing how the blood vessels will increase in size as the girl's getting closer to her actual menstrual period. The hormone called progesterone will cause more blood to move to this area. It basically causes the uterus to get thicker as the month goes on. The vagina. So the vagina has lots of functions. It's lined with mucous membranes. So it's, flushing out mucus. It's the passageway for menstruation to come out. It receives the penis during sexual intercourse, and it serves as the birth canal. So the baby will come down the birth canal, aka the vagina. All right, and then we'll just end with this slide. So the vagina has folds in it, so it increases the size of it. It's called rugae. Now, if you guys remember, the stomach had rugae in it also. That allows for the stomach to expand. The hymen, so that's that little thin piece of tissue that I was talking about that helps, this little thin tissue here on the model, that helps to protect the vagina as the girl's developing. All right, and then the orifice is just the opening. Okay, I think that's probably a good place to stop because it's 3:30. All right. Okay, so hopefully you guys learned something. So continue on going through those slides and then complete those assignments, and we will see you guys next time. Any questions?
Thank you.
All righty. Okay, you guys take care.